Hey everyone, this is Shamika with Dear Shamika, and I have our special guest, Ashlynn White. You may have heard about Ashlynn on the news. If you haven't, I'm about to introduce her and let her tell a little bit of her backstory before we go into the actual interview. So, Ashlynn, could you go ahead and just kind of introduce the listeners to who you are and how you were awarded $1 million in scholarships?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ashlynn. I'm 17. I recently graduated in May. Um, I graduated high school a year early, so that's why I'm 17 and a graduate, and I'm going into my sophomore year of college. I did well, first, like, education background. I did classes in my middle school time for high school, and then they kind of like fast tracked me in high school, and then I decided to homeschool in high school, so it kind of helped me be able to get classes done a lot faster with their like programs they have set up. So I did a 3 year program in high school instead of a 4 year, and basically I took a bunch of semester classes like college instead of full year classes that some high school students do. And then my senior year, I did all dual enrollment classes, so all classes from a college from Southwest, and then I was able to graduate at 17.
That is amazing. So, one of the things that kind of drove me in, or drew a lot of people in to your story, is learning that you have autism. So, could you explain to the listeners what autism is?
Okay, autism is a disability where I have trouble communicating in social situations and situations like that. Um, I did learn about it in 2017, so I was around in eighth grade, I think, when I learned that I had autism. It was a struggle for me at first, just trying to learn how to like find my place. And I knew there was something wrong, and there was a bunch of diagnoses like I had OCD, I had anxiety, which I still have, but all these diagnoses like led to me figuring out I had autism. And when I figured that out, it was like the click, like everything made sense, and we can like better help me in that direction. So at first, like, me struggling to like communicate, and I wasn't talking, and I couldn't tell my mom what was going on, and I couldn't understand what was going on. So it was difficult for me to like learn how to like adapt to my environment when I didn't know what was going on really to begin with.
But you're so amazing. So something else I realized about you is you're also a cheerleader. Are you in any other act? Well, when you were in high school, were you in any other activities? Because you're really smart and you were a cheerleader. So what else did you do while you were in high school?
Basically, that's pretty much it. Because I did homeschool. I mean, they homeschool has a lot of options for you to be like social and communicate and like experience like what a regular high school student do. But since I was on that fast track, I was always either doing school or either at cheer. So like it was like kind of difficult for me to like do like the other things like the other clubs and stuff. But homeschool, we have so many things you can do. I just never had the time to do it because I was like always either working or going to practice. So yeah.
And like with you having autism, and I know to be a cheerleader, you have to be very sociable. So you facing challenges with your autism, and if so, how did you overcome them?
Most definitely, I feel like especially cheer has helped me a lot, like being able to be social because like I'm always the one of the older ones on the team. Everybody kind of always looks up to me, so it's like it's an honor to, of course, but like it was like I have to talk and I have to communicate and I have to express how I feel, especially when you're on a team with 15 to 20 other people. Is like if you're not communicating with your team, with your stunt group, with people you're tumbling with, then it's like you're not getting anything done. You're not getting towards the goal. So cheerleading has taught me like how to better manage my autism, and also there's been struggles with people like my coaches trying to understand me, but they have been really receptive to me and learning my disability and learning how they can work with me to get the best outcome. So
So, to what advice, being a teenager, What advice would you give to maybe a parent who doesn't necessarily know how to be supportive to a child that has autism, or what challenges you face with adults while
Hmm.
having autism, maybe even outside of your parents?
Okay, first to answer to a parent, I say as a parent, it's hard. Like I know, like parenting is. I know, well, I don't know, but I can only imagine parenting is hard as it is. So especially when your child has a disability, I feel like it can even be more stressful. But I feel like when I am in the time where I'm high stress or high anxiety, and I just need I can't get it together or what how they ever say, I feel like the best thing to do is remain calm and try to assist the situation as it is. Like if you need to give your child a break, give her some space or him some space, or if you need to step up, just step away for a minute and come back. Like I wouldn't go onto it headstrong or a little irritated because it makes the situation a lot worse. And especially for me, I feel like when I'm going through my hard times and I'm struggling, I feel like it's best when my mom is calm and she's communicating with me and she's taking it slow. We can work through it instead of it just being like, "What's going on? What's wrong?" But you're not talking to me. You're not telling me because that makes me want to shut down even more. Yeah. And then for people like other people that's not like my parents or my family, I feel like it was a little bit hard for them to grasp that I have a disability, considering that I'm not like physically disabled. And I feel like that's a lot of what goes on. Like because I'm high functioning autism, I'm not. You physically can't see the signs of autism, so I'm not as like rock. I still rock or stuff like that, but like I'm not. You can't physically see there's something wrong with me if you just met me just from day to day. Until something happens and it's like a situation pops up, or I'm going through a struggle or something, then you can see it. But other than that, it's like she looks pretty normal. So why she isn't acting normal or whatever people's version of normal is. So I have had a lot of adults come put me through the ringer with I don't understand. She doesn't have this. She doesn't have that. I think she's faking it. I think she's using it as an excuse. Like, yeah, like it was gruesome. Like I had teachers say it, and teachers, are supposed to be the ones that like help the students and want to be a student, help them learn. But teachers have done it. Cheer coaches. I mean, anybody, just people I meet in general, just it's like it's a barrier. And I'm getting better at like explaining like, okay, I have a disability. It help controls that social aspect of me, but I'm working on it. I'm working towards getting better, not better, but getting to a place where I'm like I can function normally, as per se. So
So, people, before I ask her next question, please understand that all disabilities are not physical disabilities. And just because a disability is not visible does not mean it is not there.
mhm.
Let's say we walk into a situation where some, like you said, you get a lot of people who don't know that you're disabled because they can't physically see it. What advice would you give to those people who may hear that someone has a disability but they can't see it? How should they treat the person that they're directly in contact with?
Okay, so I feel like if when you see somebody, right, you should always treat them with respect, no matter if they have a disability or not. Don't You shouldn't go at somebody and be kind of rude or disrespectful or anything like that. I always think you should treat people in kind because you never know people's story, what they got going on, in their day to day life. So I feel like that. And then when you recognize or know something's like you're unfamiliar with it, I feel like it's okay to ask questions, but just to be polite about it. I have no problem with people asking me questions about my disability because I feel like the only way for people to learn if to somebody to teach them, like you force someone to learn. So I'm always real respectful, but just to be respectful and just try to be kind, and then it makes for a receptive environment. But I feel like when you're coming off and it's kind of like you're not what I'm used to, so why are you acting like that? Stuff like that. It's just like, uh, you know. But I'll just say, like, just try to be positive, try to be kind, and then it'll eventually come up, or the person will tell you like, I have a disability. That's why I struggle. I struggle with this and this and this, and yeah.
What are so at some point, like how old were you when you found out, when you were able to identify that okay, this is what's going on with me? And also once you identified it, what are some of the coping skills that were given to you after it was identified that you had this disability?
Okay, so I found out I had autism when I was 14. That math might be wrong, but I think I was 14. No, ooh, maybe not. Maybe like 13. I found out when I was 13 or 14 in that time frame. And it really didn't click honestly until I turned like 15, 16ish, where I was like, you know, okay. I was like, cause at first I was a little like distance towards it because I thought I would be like considered weird or like different, and I was like, I don't know. So I just kind of like ignored it. But then like when I turned 15 or like 15, 16, I was like, okay, this is who I am. I'm not gonna change. So in that case, I might as well just love myself and accept me for who I am. So I started doing my research on it, and I started like going like I was going to therapy, but I started like actually asking questions and trying to get to know. So some coping skills I have is like I can remove myself from the situation. So like if it's getting high stress, high anxiety, I kind of like have to take a break, take a deep breaths. I have a breathing technique that I use for when I'm like really anxious and I'm like hyperventilating. That's a breathing technique I use. Other coping skills like I like to write about a lot of my stuff. I wrote a paper about my autism for class, and that really helped me like a lot. Like spending like just those 3 weeks on that paper, even though it was a grade, spending those 3 weeks on that paper really helped me. So I do write in my free time, journaling my thoughts so I can use them in therapy, but like just kind of reflect on how I'm feeling, how I'm really feeling. Because sometimes I feel like you can say what you want in your head, say I'm fine or say I'm okay, but like really like deep down you're not okay. So like writing it out, and then maybe a day or two, a week or two, go back and like read and see like, oh, okay, so this happened, but how did I be able to fix that and deal with that? You know what I'm saying? So just taking things step at a time, not rushing anything. If I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling nervous about a situation or something, then I can just, take a deep breath, go back to it later. Or sometimes I'm learning to face things head on. So, like, you know, going just if it's issue, let's not avoid it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk it through, see what's wrong, and then we can better assess how to avoid it or when a situation happens again, how to better handle ourselves. So, that's some things I've been working on.
You're doing an amazing job. What advice? So we talked about adult advice. What advice would you give to maybe teens or kids who are facing this? To your peer group? What advice would you give to your peer group on communicating with individuals and being compassionate to individuals with disabilities versus being, bullying? Because I know that age group. I know you know you're at home, so I don't know if it's the same impact as being in the school system, but what else would you give to your peers on just being compassionate to individuals who may be facing the same thing you're facing?
Okay, so I was in public school for a little bit of time that I knew, and I did get bullied quite a bit. So I would just say for people who have disabilities like me, I just say ignore everybody. You're perfectly fine the way you are. You're beautiful. Some people are not going to be the nicest. It's just inevitable. Like people are just not going to, be receptive. But that does not mean that you're any less of a human being because you have a disability. I used to think that a lot too. I used to think like, oh, I have a disability. I'm weird. I'm not normal. I'm just this. I'm this. I'm this. I used to put myself down a lot. But it just took me a while to understand like I'm perfect the way I am. I'm perfectly fine. Nobody's perfect. So there's no such thing as normal or the perfect person. And I can't strive to be something that I'm never gonna be. Like that's just not realistic. So I just say for the person just sticking, just stick with your coping skills, stick with what you learn, stick with what works for you, and people you're gonna find people that just really enjoy your presence and really enjoy your time, and are really gonna be receptive to who you are. and then there's gonna be people that's not, but that's okay. And then I feel like for people my age that may know somebody that has autism or makes or this disability, I would just say like stand up for those people. Like don't be the person that's just just standing there watching them get bullied or watching somebody mistreat them. Like it's better for you to stand up, especially because people with disabilities are already going through a lot. They're to their day to day. That I feel like it's just so rewarding with or so relieving when somebody else stands up for you and you don't have to always constantly fight for yourself. Like have somebody stand up for you and say something, or it's just be like, hey guys, back off, or something like that. Especially in my generation, I feel like we are so quick to just cancel people and just go off the wall for some apparent reason. Like I feel like everybody just needs to cool off and like be like, okay guys, like this is not cool, we shouldn't be doing this, you know but that's the end of that. But I feel like cancel culture is such a big thing this our generation, so I just feel like that's what people should do to help the situation.
I didn't even tie when I the council culture. So that's no, I thought it was just something that celebrities did. So kids actually cancel each other.
Mm-hmm. It's hard.
What
It's hard.
what is canceling? Like, what does that look like?
Just dissing. Like I see it on social media all the time. Like kids will just like call each other out and like harass. Like everybody just like jump on this one person for something they did. Now sometimes I can understand the situation. Like if it was like a racist slur or something like that. But like still in that sense, like we really should be putting kids on blast and telling them to go do stuff, harm themselves when maybe they did something real was wrong. But no, cancel culture is real. Like people straight out cancel you for literally anything nowadays, and it's not just celebrities; it's for kids too. Cause social media, it be all over social media. I be seeing it on Snapchat, Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what did this girl do to y'all that y'all have to just, you know, bash her on the internet like that? Like that's so crazy. And it'll happen in school too. Like people will jump people for doing stuff, and yeah, and it's bad, or like bully them, and it's just terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, I know.
And so you like with being you faced that in school when you were in school, cancel culture.
Yeah, cancel culture in itself, but for me being autistic, I just feel like people thought it was funny to pick on me because I would give them a reaction, but it's not the fact that I'm like, you know, giving a reaction is to give a reaction. Like I give a reaction because you know I am disabled, and it's kind of it's a disconnect there for me and other people. Like I don't understand, sarcasm or jokes or stuff like that. So it's like, oh, it's funny to pick on Ash because Ash is gonna do something weird, and it's like it's an ongoing joke. So I don't know why that's a thing, but
I'm so I'm really really proud of you in how not only how you've overcome, but also how you were able to um you had to be so strong, but that you were strong and you had a strong support system outside of school, and also that you're excelling because you were able to do cheerleading as well as excel in school. And you're so wise. You're so amazing. Like, I didn't know that kids canceled each other. So having and then a lot of to speak to people's age, not to make excuses. A lot of people don't understand
yeah,
what individual like everyone has their individual things that they're going through outside of school, and then being a teenager trying to figure this thing on out, trying to navigate life and learning different things, and also dealing with autism, you know being having to navigate and figure out how to cope, and even identifying that this is what you're experiencing is a lot within itself. So guys, for whatever it's worth, I don't know if this is means anything coming from me, but we got to be compassionate
mm-hmm.
because you don't understand how what you say in high school, middle school, elementary school is going to impact that one thing can stay with a person for the rest of their lives, and it hurts them, and some people do take that. measures because some people cannot deal with the bullying, especially when you have several people joining in to counsel you. I mean, that it's heartbreaking because I didn't know that kids counsel kids nowadays.
Yeah.
So, do we have the schools? We talked about Southwest. Let me get off the emotional stuff. So, what? Because I was taken aback. But do we have an idea of what school you're going to? Like, do you know where you're going to go? You're not
Okay,
going to
so
announce it yet.
no, I already announced this. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to the U of M in the fall. So what time?
What's your major? Your major?
Oh, I'm a pre-health biology major.
Oh, you are absolutely smart. Oh,
Yeah.
so amazing. And this is my final question. So, what advice would you give to individuals who are getting prepared to go to college?
Okay, so this is actually really great because I went to college before I went to college. So
Okay.
this is good. I would say first thing first, don't schedule 8 a.m. classes because you're not gonna get them for them. I already been through it, and I had to drive myself to an 8 a.m. class,
Oh
and girl, I
no,
was struggling.
yeah.
I was struggling. I had to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. That is not cool, especially when you have freedom to like go to sleep whatever time you want to go to sleep. Like, and I'm in my house with my mama, so that just tells you how it would be if I was going on campus for real. So don't schedule any 8 a.m. classes. Get to know your professors. Like,
Yeah.
talk to them. Don't want to. They have to deal with like kids like that, hundreds of kids every semester. Talk to your professors. Like, just ask them how the day is. Ask questions in class. They interact with your professors because I've been in classes where it's just dry and it's like, okay, what are we getting to, guys? Okay, that I would say that, and I would say study. Set time aside to study, and that's not just studying, doing homework, reviewing. Always review your material because most of the time you have like 1 to 2 classes, 2 to 3 classes a week. So like taking that time to like, even if you need to do it like immediately as your day is done, go to your dorm and study. I would just say that, and then go out and do whatever you want. Just like have discipline in what you do because it's you're gonna have freedom to go out, do what you want, and that's not even just like partying. That's just like sitting around in the room and just chilling. Like, you're gonna have that freedom, so you're not gonna have your mom telling you like, okay, you gotta do your homework, or washing your clothes. So like, you have to time management and self discipline is a lot. Is going because my mom, especially like me going to Southwest for this last year, she was like, well, you gotta do it on your own, girl. You gotta learn how to get up in the
You
morning.
miss your mom washing your clothes?
I miss my mom wash my clothes. I gotta wash my clothes and do homework by myself. Like, oh my goodness, like, mom. But no, she did that for a reason. She set me up so when I do go to my 4 year, I'm gonna be better prepared for the real deal.
You're gonna have so much fun. I'm excited. I went to Tennessee State University, and it. Let me tell you, on campus life is a game changer. So you are gonna have so much the games. I'm so excited for you. What are you most excited about for being on campus? What are you most excited about?
I'm just excited about finding coffee and doing homework. And that sounds so lame, but I love a good coffee and chilling, like chilling, talking to friends, hanging out. I'm so excited for all of that because when I was in Southwest, like we can still do the same things, but I didn't have a lot of friends at Southwest. I knew a few people, but I didn't have a lot of friends. We were on totally different opposite schedules, and it's a community college, so people kind of came and go, like came to different classes and left. But I feel like at U of M, like we can stay, and we can like talk and drink coffee and like go find things to do around the university. I feel like it's gonna be so fun. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm excited. It's gonna be so much fun. It is. The on campus experience is, man, if anybody is kids that are going off to college or living in dorms, the on campus experience will it's amazing. Like, I think that everybody should have a chance to have the enjoy the on campus experience because it does put you in a different mindset. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're growing up. It grows you up and it gives you the opportunity to enjoy your peers. Did you have anything else before we wrap up this? Did you have any advice for anyone or anything else you have to say?
I think you kind of nailed it on the spot when you just said be compassionate and just have a big heart for everybody. I feel like nowadays we kind of lack, like the love in society. I feel like people are just kind of out for themselves and not thinking about everybody else. So I feel like if we kind of take a time to like care for somebody that might need it, then we'll be way better off as a society, as a country in general. This is my opinion on it.
See, she is so mature because a lot of you adults, I love my people, but a lot of you guys, a lot of us, we needed to hear that we have to show compassion, we have to show love, we have to show understanding. You never know whether an adult or a child, you never know what the next person is going through, especially a child. A lot of kids are very impressionable, and a lot of kids are still dealing with being kids. So it's like especially teenagers. Teenagers are at the in between stage of I'm not quite an adult, but I'm not quite a kid, so they're
Mm-hmm.
still figuring it out. So we have to show compassion and love, and we have to have effective communication. So, kind of like Ashlyn said previously, when you talk negatively to teens or kids, they hear you. So you can't say, "Well, you ain't." She remembers those things. So even the teachers who said it, they may not even remember they said it, but she still remembers those things. And I don't even. Do you remember how old you were when they were saying, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with you"? Do you
14,
remember? So you're
14.
17 now. She still remembers those things. So you guys, we have to be more compassionate when we're handling people, but especially teens and kids, because it will change it will change their perception of you as an adult. And they may not, kids like to build trust. They may not trust you like they used to. Did you lose trust with any of the adults who you heard say those things? Like it was like, I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, I did. It's really heartbreaking because like you want to, especially for me, I just want to love everybody so hard, and I want to be there. But like at some point, I was like, this is not gonna benefit me in any good way. So why should I put in that effort? And it's really sad because I'm not the type of person to just give up on people. I'm always like, it's fine. We can work through it. We can get through it. But at the same time, I have to think about myself and be like, this is not what's good for me. So I should, distance myself. And it was really hard. Like some relationships I have had with adults, I've been like, I really don't want to give up. I really want this to work. I really want you to understand me. But if you're not willing to understand me, then it's not my fault anymore. It's solely based on you. Like I can't, and it really does suck. Like yeah, it's terrible. But I just feel like I have to better myself every day. I can't be holding on to something it's not willing to hold on to me. And you know, just is what it is. It's really sad, but kids, we want that love from older people. Like as much as we might say, like, "Oh, my mom's annoying. She has rules." Like we want discipline. We want somebody to care for us. So when when there's not care there, or they're not caring for us, then it's like, okay, well, it's kind of hard to just keep moving when you don't have that good support system.
I don't even think you know how impactful what you're saying is. Maybe reaching a parent who is not there for their kids, and then when kids don't get it from you, they will get it from someone, whether it
Somebody,
be
mhm.
outside influences, their peers, bad influences. When people aren't getting mentorship or guidance from you, they're gonna seek it from someone else. So we have to be mindful, and we have to be there for the future because they are the future. And so let's support them as much as we can. Thank you so much for joining the show, Ashlyn. I completely appreciate you and I value you. And I'll say bye, Ashlyn.
Bye.
We'll see you guys later.